Hello guys, today we're going to talk about a Syrian gladiator. His name was Flamma and how he literally carved his name into the history, how he became the greatest fighter of Roman Empire, his origins, battles, and also why he refused the freedom 4 times. The word gladiator comes from the Latin word gladius, which means sword. And we have also famous flowers, gladiolus, right? I'm going to put the picture and you'll remember every time, and you can make a link in order to memorize it. Gladiators, normally they have a training. They were trained and they were often slaves or prisoners of the war, and they forced to entertain the masses. Flamma was a little bit different. First of all, as I said, he was born in Syria, distant Roman province. In 64 BC, Syria was already taken by Pompey the Great, and it became a part of the Roman Empire. As we know, Flamma, he fought during the reign of Emperor Hadrian. So Hadrian, he was ruling from 117 to 138 AC. So that means already Syria was under the Roman Empire, first of all. Second of all, he cannot be prisoner of the war, so most probably he was a slave. So according to the ruling period of Hadrian, Emperor Hadrian, we can guess approximately life period of Flamma himself. Overall, this time period of ruling Emperor Hadrian, it's called Golden Era for Gladiators games itself. During this time, gladiators game were at the peak, and they used to showcase Roman power and entertain its people, and fighters like Flamma became household names. So despite of their brutal profession, the names used like a hero. It's important to highlight also Emperor Hadrian. He makes some changes in these games. First of all, number one point, he emphasized the games, and he was into philosophy and humanism, so he emphasized non-lethal combat, and so less dead bodies, less killings on the arena. And then he introduced team combat, where the groups of gladiators, they are fighting with each other, so it's like close to the military maneuvers. And so it will be like two groups, and the groups going to fight each other, as before it was 1-to-1. And also he was known personally inspect gladiator schools. He liked to ensure that these schools were in high standards, and they had good training and even safety. These schools ancient Romans named them as a Ludus, from Ludi. Ludus is a plural form, and singular form is Ludi, which means a play, a game, if we're going to translate it exactly the word. And this word, Ludus, used to be referred not only to the gladiator schools, but for the primary, elementary schools as well in ancient Rome. So Flamma, for sure, he was trained in such kind of school, and for our luck, we know the location. His Ludus, his school, gladiator school, was located in Sicily, and Sicily also was famous because of its hub for gladiatorial culture. Ludus in Sicily was different. We're going to compare to the other schools which were available in that time. It was quite extraordinary. Number one, Sicilian Ludus were a mixture of Hellenistic, it carried Greek heritage. So you will have in one hand a Roman fighting style, and another hand a Greek fighting style. So these two heritages were mixed in Sicily and used. The second point is, we know that in ancient Rome there were 3 slave revolts, And the first one happened in Sicily, actually. So 3 of them didn't succeed. They want to be free and overturn the government, right? So the 3 of them didn't succeed, and Romans were able to catch those rebels. And understanding that these rebels are valuable, because you have to be enough strong to go against Romans. And they captured those people, then sent back to the Sicily, and they transformed them and turned them into the gladiators in order to entertain themselves. You have already strong people, and they believe that they're going to perform it good because they had that courage to go against and fight, because they really fought good. One of the famous ones, rebels, what we know, is the Spartacus, and we have a book even, and I suggest you to read it. It's very interesting. As you understand, this was happened the way before Flamma arrived from Syria to the Sicily. And what I want to say by highlighting these points, he arrived to this kind of culture and heritage. This is the reason he became a famous and became a well-trained and became an extraordinary phenomenon. Now let's talk about the third point. As I said, Sicilian gladiator schools, they have a mixture of fighting techniques, normally Romans and the Greeks. So this appeared not just like that, of course, because if you were going to look at the location of Sicily, it's exactly in the middle of Mediterranean Sea. So you're going to have a lot of seafarers, pirates were captured and also brought as slaves. And you will have a North African slaves or war prisoners. You will have Syrians, whoever around the Mediterranean Sea. You're going to have to be delivered first to the Sicily. That location, that the port was crucial. Diversity of ethnic groups was really high. So the most famous ones I can highlight: North Africans, Celtics, Spanish, Greek, and Syrian. As I already highlighted the location of Sicily, you may understand that it is logistic area, and to bring to this area, to this island, wild animals, it's the way easier, and do animal hunt on the arena. So it was featured a lot, exotic beasts on the arena fighting with the gladiators, or gladiators, they're hunting after the wild animals. This kind of entertaining or hunting after the wild animals in arena by gladiators used to call it venatio, and it include these wild animals: lions, elephants, tigers, zebras, ostriches, camels, leopards, giraffes, hippos, crocodiles, cheetahs, rhinos, hyenas, and gorillas. As you understand, I didn't tell all the list, but more than half, even I say 80%, those wild animals used to bring from Africa, North Africa, and from Asia Minor. To the Sicily, as I said, because the Sicily was perfectly located in the middle of Mediterranean Sea, access to any kind of port around. Number 4, Sicily had its own amphitheater, which was located in the Syracuse. It was considered one of the largest amphitheaters which was available in the Roman period. Number 5, Sicily was specialized on the weapon crafting, and blacksmiths of Sicily, they were very famous, and they used to also export their own local weaponry to other Roman provinces. So this one also gave advantage to Sicilian gladiators to be more advanced, because, as I said, their weapons also was on point. Even they used to experiment. So the blacksmith, he will do some kind of new weapon, and the first place to be practiced that weapon, it was in Sicily. even if it's go okay, they used to do production to other places. If not, they used to stop it. So the first experiment for the new weapons also was in Sicily. Number 6, unlike Rome, Sicilian Ludus had a high mortality. Sicilian schools had a harsh training, so a lot of students, let's say, ended up dying before they go to arena. And the last point I would like to highlight that Sicilian Ludus, Sicilian Gladiator schools, they used to incorporate music in order to have rhythmic fight. Normally they use drums and flutes. So the Flamma journey began in Syria. While we don't know if he was a freeborn man or enslaved, because his gravestone hints at the remarkable rise. We know that he came from Syria to Sicily, and I have already shared the background of the Sicily, the gladiators schools, and Hadrian ruling. So with that you make conclusion in what kind of atmosphere he came, and we know exactly what kind of gladiator he was. He trained as a Secutor. There were many types of gladiators, but Flamma, he was mentioned that he was a Secutor. Secutor, this is a type, it's a gladiator with a heavy armors. He is equipped heavily. So logically heavy means by weight, right? So his equipment was from 15 to 18 kg. You make a conclusion, guys, immediately that this person, his body is fit good, he's physically strong, he's supposed to be tall, because to carry this 18 kg and go to the arena and fight with a retari, his opponent is a retari. I will explain to you what kind of opponent he had. So he should be physically fitted and tall, because the shield what he had in his arms also, it was a 1 meter. The length of the shield was 1 meter. That we may not conclude approximately, that's not 100% because we don't know his height or measurement, but we can logically conclude that this person was physically fit, muscles. I don't know, you can call it Arnold Schwarzenegger, he should be very strong. In the conclusion, I want to say, to carry those armor. So he had protection on his hand, protection on his leg, normally one hand and one leg, and then he had a heavy helmet, and then he had a shield, and he had a gladius. So now let's talk about the origin of Secutor. Why this is important to our character Flamma? Because origin of the Secutor is evolves from Murmillo. As you see in the picture, there is a Secutor up and the Murmillo down. The difference between these two is helmets. Secutor has different helmet, and Murmillo has a different helmet. And Secutor first time mentioned in 50 CE. So it's very close to the years of Flamma when he became popular, right? We said in the Hadrian time. However, Murmillo, it's one of the earlier gladiator types, and Murmillo, it's evolved from from the Gauls, and it used to named also Gaul, but since Caesar took area of Gaul, which is south of France, they become a part of the Roman Empire, and somehow to call gladiators Gaul, it was inappropriate. So instead of Gaul, they changed the Gaul to the name Murmillo. And if we're going to deep dive and find the meaning of the name of Murmillo, it's related to the fish. And if you see the helmet of Murmillo, it reminds us fish. So Secutor evolved from Murmillo, and helmet of Secutor is less complicated than Murmillo. The Secutor usually fought with retari. Retari is also type of the gladiator, but comparing to Secutor, they are lightly armed gladiators. So they had only nets and tridents. So opponent or who fights against Secutor is Rhetari. But for the Mormillo, when it comes to the Mormillo, opponents can be heavily armed gladiators. So the Secutors, they had heavy equipment, right? And this one made them to move slower comparing to Rhetari. Rhetari, he has only net and trident in his hand, not that much heavy, so he can run left, run back, run forward, whatever he want to run. But the Secutor, he should be patient in order to attack, and he need to feel the senses and where is the enemy, because the helmet also, the visibility wasn't that much wow, and secondly, the helmet covered the ears area, so he was like deaf. He cannot hear the voice. And imagine already, you cannot imagine, it's arena and 50,000 people sitting, let's say, and all of them shouting. You won't be concentrating also listening your opponent, the Rhetari one. And the helmet is tight, so you're sweating in this side. So imagine Flamma now, because we're talking about the Flamma. We are Flamma, we are heavily armored. In front of us, Rhetari with a net and trident. He jumps and he runs there. He wants me, make me tired, and I should make myself calm, so I will not waste my power. And in order to win, I need to get close to my opponent and attack, because I have a short sword. Rhetari has a net and he has a trident, so he can attack in a distance. That make him for him easier, right? But when it comes to Secutor, he need to calculate everything. The job of the Rhetari is to make Secutor tired. So he need to tire him out, so he will give up and he will be, out of his energy. If we're going to consider how much Flamma he won in his, I can consider short period of time, because he died when he was 30 years old. Imagine he won like 34 matches. Imagine how much he was strong to not get tired, carry all this 18 kg. I know he was trained, I know how, but we have to put ourselves sometimes in our heroes' places to feel the power, right? To feel our enemy. So we will understand the situation and the history of the person himself. He is under the big stress and test for the patience. He need to really wait when to attack. And his equipment, as I said, it's a heavy. For example, if we're going to talk about the helmet, you have two small holes to see. If we're going to compare to Mormillo views is better comparing to the Secutor, right? Because Mormillo has more than two holes. And these holes made it very hard to see your opponent clearly. So you should really trust your sense. I don't know, maybe he see him by his skin. You cannot hear, first of all, because it's covering your ears. You cannot see properly, and ear holes are closed. You cannot even hear. And as I said, the helmet is heavy. And it's making you sweat, because you to wear it for the long time. Also, gladiators, they should not finish this game very fast, right? They need to entertain the people there sitting. Come on, they pay their bills to see, not to finish those show within 5 minutes. The more show is longer, the more is juicier, the more they want to watch, and the more they will come back to entertain all the stuff. Flamma used to wear this helmet for the long period. The helmet was made of bronze or iron, and of course provided excellent protection when somebody attack you with any kind of weapon. So you protect your head, your neck and shoulders. Let's talk about the shield, which is in Latin scutum. The shield of Secutor was large, rectangular, and curved, similar to Roman soldiers' shields. It was about 1 meter long and half meter wide. The shield was made of a thin wooden plank glued together, covered in leather, and of course decorated with a beautiful design. The edges was reinforced with the bronze. And the weight, guys, 7.5 kg approximately. So from 7.5 kg to 8 kg, this only the shield was. So this is again heavy stuff in your hand. It's good for your protection, but it will not make you, move quickly. And that's actually good for the retiarius. It's an advantage in the battle when you cannot move quickly, and retiarius move. This is like that they created. So one opponent is not armored well and it's not protected, so he can die easily. And another one is fully armored, but he cannot move easily. So in order to entertain the people, gladiators was balanced with this. Some has plus, some has minuses. And on one hand, another opponent is the same, has a plus and minuses. So this is all to entertain again. Again, this show should not finish fast. In order to that, also the Gladius was used particular. So the famous Gladius, famous sword, was Hispanic one because it was quite short. It was 79 centimeters. But when it comes to the gladiators, they make it more shorter. So the length was from 60 to 65 centimeters long. It was straight and double-edged. It was perfect for stabbing and for cutting the strikes. Also, the handle was heavy, and to control the sword itself. And this by 1st and the 3rd century CE, again we're coming to the Flamma time, again covering the Flamma time. This sword from 79 to 60, from 60 to 30, from 30 even we have a 20 centimeters. So it's shortened by the time. That's making you more difficult to kill or to protect yourself from the opponent. So Flamma, being a Secutor, having a sword which is length is 30 centimeters, he was really wait patiently until that Rudis, his opponent, come closer so he can hit him. Because all he need to do is protect himself with his shield and hit him with the short sword. And if he lost his sword, then the game's over. He cannot protect himself with nothing. So normally what they used to do, Secutors, they used to tie it on their hand, the sword itself, on the wrist. So you catching a sword with your hand. And also for the protection, in order to not lose the sword, they used to tie the sword on their wrists. In case they lost the control while they're fighting, right? And the sword should not be dropped. So for the more protection, they used to tie the sword on their wrists. As you understand, his arm also was protected. Right arm was protected with linen, heavy linen, wrapped with the leather strap, or with the metal wrapping, wrapped with the tied with the leather strap. Same for his full leg was protected. Two options we have protected with the metal, and we have protection with the leather, boiled leather. And in Pompeii we found 9 examples of Ocrea. Ocrea is a protection of the left leg. We find 9 examples, and one of them was heavily decorated. So historians assume that heavily decorated used to use it for some occasions, not in the battlefield. That's just assumption. We don't know exactly, but that's more to logic. So if we want to draw a picture of Flamma, we will draw him with as a Secutor and equipped with the shield, with the Gladius, with the helmet, which is smooth on the top, and the protection on the leg is Ocrea, but protection on the hand is Manica. He had a underwear, obviously. His torso was open, and he had a wide belt. As we know, Emperor Commodus, he was a fan of gladiator games, and he by himself also participated, and he participated as a Secutor. So Flamma was Secutor, Emperor Commodus was Secutor, and even after Emperor Commodus died, they canceled his name as Emperor Commodus because he participated in gladiator games, because it was some kind of it was inappropriate to participate. Emperor cannot participate in the gladiators games, because obviously these gladiators games were for entertaining, and the level of emperor, what he was doing, it wasn't matching with his status. So after his death, they canceled his name as emperor, and he stayed, they mention him as a gladiator in the history. Flamma, he fought in 34 matches. I was saying 31 all the time. In 34 matches. And if we're going to calculate approximately his age when he started his career as a gladiator, so typically gladiators fought 2-3 times per year. These fights were dangerous, so we should understand that this combat, you hurt you physically, and you might die, and the risk of injury or death is very high, first of all. Second of all, as I said, he fought 34 times, and he died at his 30s, right? He died when he was 30, and he fought 34 combats. So this, let us conclude that he was, when he started his career, he was 17-20. If we're going to make it more accurate, we will have a number 18. So Flamma, quite like, if we're going to put in our days, he finished the school and he became a gladiator. So approximately Flamma, he started his career at 18 and he died at his 30. And this is giving very amazing results. It's shocking results, actually, to stay for 12 years at the top. 21 times he won, 4 times he's lost, and 9 times the combat finishes with an even result. This is really, really remarkable result. On top of that, he was offered freedom 4 times. Rudis, the wooden sword, was presented to him 4 times. And the more surprisingly on this one, he has a chance to be free. He refused and he returned to arena 4 times. You know, he's already rich because he's receiving gifts from his sponsors. He has already, he can live luxury life, let's say. But the question is, what's make him to continue? As a conclusion, what historians are saying, that he was so much loyal to his teacher, to his trainer, to his school. That's why he used to come back. I cannot see also any reason why he come back. Another one, the philosopher says, Seneca says that his career decisions suggest he valued dying as a warrior over civilian life. So Seneca's ideology was, I better die on the battlefield like a warrior rather than I die sick on the bed. So this was the explanation given. Myself, I cannot make any conclusion why he had this choice to come back. And this all information about his fight, how many times he lost, how many times was even his fights, total amount of the combats we have, and his origin. We have written on his gravestone. The only detail we have about Flamma is his gravestone. By the way, Flamma means fire, if we're going to translate from the Latin. Also, this is given nickname, obviously, because Syrian, if he's originally, and he is originally Syrian, because in his gravestone mentioned that origin Syrian, and Flamma definitely is nickname. So it was given again during his career. This is short information about him we find on his gravestone, and also very cute from here that the person who wrote it also mentioned. I'm going to quote what exactly was written on the Flamma's gravestone. So, as I said, it was discovered in Sicily, and it reads, Flamma, a Syrian by birth, Secutor by profession, He fought 34 matches, won 21, tied 9, and lost 4. He was offered freedom 4 times, but chose the arena. Gladiators erected this for his deserving comrade in arms. This one tells us that he was also respected by his friends in the school. This is amazing. I mean, I don't know. I found very amazing personality when you're respected by Gladiators, and his writing in the end, comrade in arms, is really sweet. It's very sweet. Just because of the Gladiators we know about the Flamma. Gladiators might could skip all this information, but he value his deeds, and he wrote it down this on his gravestone. That's the only information actually we know about the Flamma, and the rest we just create a world for this amazing persona, amazing gladiator, in order for us to understand his world. That make us conclude that the gladiator arena wasn't just a place of violence, right? Killings. It was a stage of heroes when men like a Flamma could defy the death, earn the fame, and leave legacy for centuries. And he reminds us complexity of Roman culture, where brutality and honor coexist. That's the beautiful, very beautiful. And this brutality and honor make him to rise to immortality. Thank you for joining me to uncover the story about Flamma, unusual man, origin Syrian, and who rose in Roman Empire up to the heroes level. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and put a comment. Thank you so much. Bye bye.